Why does God care about his name being glorified? And what does that even mean? Well, glorifying God's name is giving credit to him. In multiple instances in the Bible, we see that God wasn't a fan of those who did not give him credit when credit was due. For example, there was Moses, a righteous leader of Israel, who was even called the meekest man on earth in Numbers chapter 12 verse 3. Despite that, in Numbers 20 verses 1 to 12, the Israelites were complaining to him about having no water, and God gave Moses the power to draw water out of a rock. Instead of giving the credit to God, Moses said this in verse 10. "Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?" Indicating that it was him who had the power to do this, and not God who gave it to him. God was very displeased with this action, and told Moses, "Because ye believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them." So Moses died in the wilderness. There are other examples of God being displeased when credit was not given when credit was due, like when he punished King Nebuchadnezzar for doing that in Daniel chapter 4 verses 29 to 34. But why does God dislike it so much? So let's think of it this way. God is very powerful, very mighty, and he has done a lot for mankind. From sending Jesus Christ to this world to save us from a perpetual cycle of life and death, as was said in John chapter 3 verse 16, to protecting his children from harm, and even blessing individuals with riches, abounding families, more knowledge about him and his plans, as was talked about in Luke chapter 11 verse 13, and even allowing us to live on this earth in the first place, as said in Acts chapter 17 verse 25. So all he asks in return is for us to glorify his name and give him credit when credit is due. So when that one request isn't done, then it's not really fair to God at all. But there are people in the Bible who did the right thing and gave all the glory to God. One of which is Jesus Christ, who, when raising Lazarus, told all the bystanders that it was God who gave him the power to do that, in John chapter 11 verses 41 to 42, where he told everyone, "Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me." Elisha, another person in the Bible, did the same thing when he refused to take the money Naaman offered him after he cured him of his leprosy, in 2 Kings chapter 5 verses 15 to 16, to show Naaman that the power didn't come from him, but from God. But now, if we want to be in God's good books, we have to make sure that we always give God the credit when it's due. But we can't just stop there. There are things we can do that would be to the glory of God, like when David planned to build a temple for him, because at the time it was just a tent in 2 Samuel chapter 7. If he wasn't thinking about God's benefit, building the temple would have never crossed his mind. All the decisions we take, especially the important ones, should be with God in mind, and that's the best way to glorify his name, because after all the things God did for us, that's the least we can do. Actually, something St. Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 4 verses 10 to 11 completely fits what I'm talking about here. And he said, "As every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever." Technically, doing this still wouldn't be anywhere near enough to balance the scales, considering all the things God has done for us, but at least it's something, and it was called our duty by Jesus Christ in Luke 17:10, where he told us, "So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which I commanded you, say, We are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do."